looks so strange.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, welcome. So I'm in Costa Rica, but we're also working in bed 30 another Fahrenheit, Germany, and the life of the you can find out more about my website, theyanother.com, as well as download this podcast and my past podcast. You can comment, subscribe, and let me know what kind of a topic cover, and I'll be more than happy to do it. Please follow me on iTunes, Welcome Radio, and Player FM. And today we have to answer the Canadian worldwide. Unfortunately, a mother, a married by profession, is also other, as I never thought I would be in the community. She shares her testimony of how she overcame an abusive relationship. And here with us today, so
Turisma, could you please tell us what you have been since you've been last on my radio show? I'm so happy to have you again.
Hi, Diana, how you been?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if I recall correctly, last time we met, it was about probably 2, 3 years ago.
We have a really strange connection. Oh my gosh.
This is the feedback. Hold on a second. Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, just a little bit better. I don't know. We have some sound problem. I don't know.
Okay. So I was basically saying last time we met, I think it was about 2, 3 years ago. And since then, a lot's been happening with Beyond the Abuse mostly. We've been more active in the community. And I published a book. And, I've been touring around and then talk about the book and talk about domestic violence.
You're trying to fix the sound.
I'm sorry?
Are you trying to fix the sound?
No, answer the question.
Okay. Can you tell us how going through abusive and domestic violence relationship changed your life? What you were able to accomplish since you leave this relationship?
Well, since I left the relationship, first I started a nonprofit called Beyond the Abuse to bring awareness on the subject. And I also published a book, and I've been going around and bring awareness on domestic violence through different activities and different speeches.
That's very good. And you have been doing a lot of events, inviting women to share their stories, and you got involved with some kind of organization. And of course, you help somebody. I refer to you to find a safe place,
Yeah.
which is absolutely wonderful. She's doing great. And thank you so much for doing that. Can you tell us what kind of a relationships you were able to establish with the community, with the police station? How did you do that? What kind of steps did you take?
Well, first, in 2016, when we started, we were mostly like a group, like a community, being involved, trying to bring awareness on the topic. And I wanted to go further than that. So I went ahead and got us registered as a nonprofit. So most likely, right now we have relationship with therapists, survivors, and their family. And I will not say that we have a close relationship with the police, but if it happened that, of course, if we need them, we know how to reach them. And our work is mostly directed towards the survivors and their family, trying to help them rebuild self-esteem and mostly moving forward with their life and showing them that it's actually be done. And of course, it is the process that, but once you're willing to go through the process, everything is possible, and it can be done. And I'm a witness of that.
Yeah, definitely. And you're going to school right now, and you're certified nurse, right? And you're
I'm
doing
an
wonderful job in helping with the COVID-19 situation at the moment. What is your advice to the women right now in this situation during the COVID-19 who are in domestic violence and abusive relationship? What they should do, how they should be able to believe in themselves?
Okay, and I was reading mostly last year. They were saying that because of COVID and the quarantine, the numbers went drastically up. And my advice with somebody for somebody that might be in a situation right now will be first to to try to have a plan, because like they said, statistically most women they end up dying once they try to leave. So it's and COVID is not making anything easier. So I will say, work on a safety plan first. Make sure that they have their steps defined. And of course, we know nothing, it's never going to be perfect, but it's better to plan than not to plan at all. Um, that will be the first thing that I'll advise them to do, and make sure they have the right contact numbers, right resources, because you have to realize that once you leave, going back should not be an option, because the other person now gonna know what you're thinking. You're thinking about leaving, and they're gonna and it's the situation might escalate, and God only knows how bad it might end up being afterwards. So make sure you have the plan, make sure you have the right contact information, you have the steps established before you actually take into action to leave actually, because it will preferably not go back when you're out, if for mostly safety reason, if I can put it that way. And of course, you have to always remind yourself that whatever situation you're in, you're not the only person in it. So that's why I always say, speak up, speak out. You're not alone, because most of the time we think that we are the only person going through what we're going through, and we feel so ashamed and we don't want to talk about it, which is um, almost all the time not the case. So, and make sure you have a strong circle of people around you where you can really count on them when you seek. They're gonna be here for you and support you.
A lot of women don't have this kind of a support, especially now because of the financial situation of a lot of
Yeah.
people. And it's really difficult. And do you have cases of women who are living right now at this moment, although we are facing these financial difficulties? And if you have, can you please share us what kind of steps they're taking or how you'll be able to help them?
Um, I had a lady who reach out to me, but she wasn't in the process of leaving. She had already left, so she was, mostly she was struggling with life after, right? She wasn't sure what she was gonna do. She was dealing with a lot of low self-esteem, and of course, being in a previous abusive relationship, she felt like she knew better, so she was dealing with this, and a lot of trust issue, especially towards herself, not trusting her decision. So but her case was different because she had already left the person. So what we did mostly, it was encouraging her, take it easy, be don't be so hard on yourself, because we only human. And I always said that there's never mistake, it's only lesson learned. So it's not because no situation should define your life. And you have to give yourself more credit, because especially for living, because it takes a lot of strength to actually put a plan into action and carry it. So um so we were mostly going through a lot of different session of empowerment session, and she needed resources in regards of what's doing next. So what legal action to take, because she had also a child involved in the situation. So how to deal with the legal system in terms of custody, and you know um, the separation itself, how involved that person was going to be in the child's life. So we were able to direct her to to the right resources where she could. She then needed shelter, like I mentioned, because she already had left. So um but mostly that's the kind of work we did with her. And a lot of the situation, I mean, a lot of things is dealing with you as a person, dealing with your mental. And because if you have no strength, you can basically do nothing. So it's very important to have, to gain your power back, and your confidence, and your self-esteem, and making and forgive yourself, for being in the situation. Because we often blame ourselves very harshly, because we feel like we could have made better choices. But like I mentioned earlier, we only human, things happen. And in order to move forward, we need to forgive ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And can you share with us the places where women can reach to you, talk to you, phone numbers in New York? You're in New York. How they
Yes.
can get in touch with you? Can you share with us? You're doing
um,
wonderful job.
Thank you. Of course, they can always go on our website, where they're gonna find the different contact information. The website is www.beyondtheabuse.com, and we also on Facebook and Instagram at Beyond the Abuse. And our phone number right now is 516-256-9531. 516-256-9531. And we can also be reached through email. The email address is info@beyondtheabuse.org. And yeah, that's the main resources. And I'm personally as well on Facebook and Instagram at Joanne M. Charisma. So I'll answer whatever messages once I get it. So it could also go through me.
So this is your organization doing something about finding a place for the women to live, because I think this is the biggest problem. This is something that is keeping them from living abusive and domestic violence relationship. They want to have safe place to live, especially when children are involved.
Exactly.
So do you do something like placing them in safe home or something like this? Do you
So
working on this or you have available?
we try to work with different shelters in the neighborhood, or many other women colleague will also have different organization in that instance, because us personally we don't have any shelters, right? So what we will do with one we will direct them to one of these people, after up school, making sure the place is safe and everything, and then um it's like giving them a referral kind of thing, and making sure they'll have a safe place to stay.
Do you work only in New York, or you're able to help somebody who lives in different state, for example?
Mostly right now we are mainly active in New York, but if somebody happen to be in a different state, we will try still to help, but we'll have to make probably more research to make sure we actually find a contact in that specific location where we can um, direct that person.
So your nonprofit organization is growing basically, and it's making connections with
Yes,
other organizations in other states,
yes,
and you're trying to do your best to help as many women as possible, and men, of course.
exactly.
Yeah. So you have written a book about your life. Can you tell us a little bit about this book? And if people buy your book, what they're going to be able to learn from it?
Okay, so I published the book back in 2018, and it is called "I Never Thought I Would Be a Statistic," and in which I share a little bit of my experience being in an abusive marriage. Um, when mostly in the book came out as a way of expression for me first, because um, when I was going to therapy, I realized that it was way more people than I thought that was going to a situation similar to mine. So I wanted to do something. I wanted to share my stories, and then writing was the best way I could do it, because I never been a public person. So I wrote the book, and also I wanted to show people that it was possible, that life after abuse was possible. And in the book was obviously I share a little bit my story, and I also try I mentioned a couple of resources in there, and yeah, and I have some poetry in it because I also write poetry.
Wow.
um and yeah, mostly it was a way of expression, and mostly showing people that um a situation doesn't have to define your life, and your life doesn't have to stop there, and you can move on, you can flourish, and realizing whatever dreams you have for yourself, you just have to be willing to put in the work, which is, I'm not gonna lie, which is very hard. Still working on myself. It's it's a day by day process, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want something so much, and if you want your freedom, which is the most amazing feeling, that's what we live for our freedom, then you'll be able to accomplish anything you put your mind onto it, and even more.
Yes, and
Because, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, what are your future plans for the organization? What are you doing right now? What kind of events you're planning? Can you share with us, please?
yeah, I could share a little bit. Mostly right now we're growing in look numbers, and trying to establish more contact in different locations. Um, we we're working. Of course, we have like our main event that we always have every year. We have book fair every. We've been having it this year. Gonna be our third year, so we're working on that currently. We have the domestic violence event in October. Sorry, and but in between we having small group sessions. Um, and empowerment session. We also started a group support where people can come and a safe, it's a safe place where people can come and express their feelings themselves, and we try has to be there for them as much as possible, answering the questions. And we have one of our members is currently is living in British Columbia, which is in Canada. So we trying to even expand ourselves beyond the state, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, mostly that's the main thing that we're working on right now. And we're planning an event for March, but once I have more detail, I'll make sure ask for them to you so you can share them with the people.
What are your words when it comes to empowerment to the women right now, stuck at home, not knowing what to do, and they're still facing this abuse and domestic violence? How they'll be able to empower themselves? What kind of advice would be able to give to them? So to give them the power to leave this toxic relationship and to believe in themselves.
I will say to them to work as hard as they can to keep their mind sane, because once you your mind is the most powerful that you can preserve, especially when you're in a situation like that. And like I mentioned earlier, with quarantine and COVID, everything is so much harder. So try to find different activities where they can keep themselves busy, and if they can reach out to other women, which might be harder, which probably harder now because we have to practice social distancing, and I know it must be very hard, but in case they really can't not live right now, it's I would say most likely keep themselves busy. If it's through writing, reading, um reach out to people sick, that make, I mean, safely, of course, not to do nothing that's gonna put their life into danger, but most likely you have to be creative and work with what you have. And it's a very tough situation right now, I have to admit. And I know it's very hard, so that's mostly what I would say to them.
I'm receiving this question. What if women are having problem with drama bond? And
To
yeah, what is your advice? What is the best approach when it comes to these obstacles everyone
what's
is
the
facing?
question
Drama
says
bond. You are missing the
drama bond.
you, yeah, they're missing the person who was hurting them so much, and they
Mm.
kind of cannot detach from them. So this is the most common question women are mentioning in groups, and I stumbled upon. What exactly is your advice?
What I say to this is, it still comes to your mind, right? Your mind playing tricks on you. And of course, I always say to everybody, it's easier to stick with what you know, but that doesn't mean it's good for you. It's just a matter, you have to realize it's a matter of habit, right? You had a routine with the person. I know for me, when it first happened, it was really hard. For sometimes I even had to stop going to the supermarket, because I will go to the supermarket and I will just stand there and literally start crying, because I will be like, I don't know what to buy because most of the meal I was cooking was for that person, and then now I had that sense of lost. Yeah, then and that only showed me that I had to work on myself, because I had lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore without that person. And that's the part, I guess. It's people probably might think that it gets easier after, but it's a real struggle, and it's harder because it's an invisible struggle. people, they don't see what you're going through, and they're not gonna understand if they never been in a situation. And of course, every situation is different. So you just gotta find strength in anything, anything and everything. Like my main source of strength was my son, because I really did not want him to grow and think that situation like this were okay, and having him to reproduce the same situation. And of course, even when I would be very depressed, I still had to get up and go to work because I had to feed him. So I did not have a luxury to kind of just lay there and sit here and then just look at him starve. So I had to kind of like, get up, even if I was doing it just because I had to do it and not because I really felt like doing it. But of course, day by day, little by little, you start establish a different routine, and you realize each day is like, oh, I did yesterday, maybe I can do today. And of course, be easy on yourself. And if you have to cry, cry, because we, like I said, we human. And these sometimes we had just have to let the emotion out. And but it is important to make sure you have a proof of people, even if they're never really gonna understand, but even if to having that person to call and express what you go through. The person doesn't have to necessarily be in the same city. Like for myself, a lot of my close relative and friends, they're not in New York, but it's good to know that you have people that there for you, and they're willing to go the extra miles. And you can call them, and you can vent, and they're not gonna go around and tell everybody your story, because a survivor feeling safe is a very important thing, even afterwards, right? So,
Yeah.
but of course, it's gonna be hard. Of course, like we're gonna miss the person, and a lot of women, and personally, I did it. You leave and then you go back because, like I mentioned earlier, it's just easier to stick with what you know. You just say, okay, maybe this time I'll have a better plan. Maybe I'll be more quiet. Maybe I'll be um more submissive, or anything that you feel like you can come up with. But it doesn't work, because the only person that you can actually really change is yourself. You have no power over somebody else decision. And in life, you can force them to do anything unless they really want to do it. So that's the thing that you have to really remember and focus on, and find strength wherever you can find it, and keep moving forward. Of course, it will get easier with time, but it will take time.
Absolutely, absolutely. The only power you have is over yourself. You cannot change the other person, and if they don't see an issue in the way they're treating you, there's no way for anything to change. Even can get worse. And
Exactly.
from my experience, from what I was able to read, in groups, it looks like that most of the time the women, when they go back,
Hmm. I cannot hear you. I'm having hard time hearing you.
okay, the
Okay,
thing is, when you go back,
now.
you actually showing that you are the reason because of what happened, and you are basically telling, "Oh, I'm sorry that you did this to me. I was the enabler." So you don't go back to this relationship anymore. We just try to find a way to build life for ourselves. Once we leave, that's it. Because
Yeah,
second time when you go back, it's a huge possibility to end up being killed, or we don't want this to happen.
exactly.
So, what is your advice? How we'll be able to get involved in society? And this is a global issue when it comes to abusive domestic violence towards women. How we'll be able to convince these people who have never been in this kind of a situation that this can happen to them? They're not immune, and they should do their part in the war against domestic violence and abuse. What is your advice?
Um, I I think the best thing that we can do, talking to somebody that never experienced something similar to us, is to share our story, because it's very hard for people to understand the dynamic of what's going on in the abuse, because most of the scars are invisible, right? If especially if we didn't have physical abuse where you could actually see with your eyes the bruises, the black eyes, the marks. It's very hard for people to understand when it comes to emotional, financial, and all the other verbal abuse. It's hard. So I feel like the best way you can show somebody that it's something that's actually going on is by sharing your story, which take a lot of strength, because everybody is at different level in their healing process. And but sharing, that's why I always encourage people to speak out and speak up. And because that's it's mostly the only way where you can actually talk about it, and show that by the victim population being so diverse, you can actually show that nobody is exempt. It doesn't matter, um, what neighborhood you live in, what school you went to, what kind of job you're having. We have people in every different places that encounter, if it was one or all of them, all the different kind of abuse. So I mean, really, that's the only way really you can actually talk, to other people that it's a situation that's been going on. And me personally, I had session, or I had to participate in event, and I had people coming after and sharing their story to me, and I'll be in shock, because what we see the outside appearance. And of course, not that we're trying to be judgmental or anything, but it's just something that happened. You look at somebody, and I have that for myself as well a lot, because I tend to be a very silly person, and I joke a lot and I laugh a lot. So sometimes it's just hard for people to imagine um me in being in a situation, and now, especially now that I'm very verbal, but they had to realize that I had to do a lot of work and grow out of situation to even be able to talk about it. There's people that's in situation, uh, they just want to forget about it, they don't want to talk about it, and it's like a defense mechanism. They just trying to cope and move on with their situation. Like I said, everybody's different and every situation is different. um but it's just in us, we have to find what's worked best for us. And in terms of how we're dealing with it and moving forward, and especially if you want to help other people, at some point you have to become verbal about it, because it's help a lot, because people find that they can relate to you. It's easier to talk to somebody once you know that they might understand you, because victims are being judged a lot all over the place and misunderstood, and this cause a lot of people not to seek help and talk about their situation. So you might think that it's not big, but I find out that it's very huge, and that's one of the reason, if it's not one of the, like, the reason I'm not stopping, because people need to hear your story, and then you can never say it enough, because you meet different people every day in your life, and of course it's gonna be hard because some people will get tired of you talking about it, and but they're not gonna understand, right? Nobody really understood unless they live something similar and really care about you and want to be there for you and support you. They not really gonna understand the dynamic, the fight, the scars, especially the invisible one, the mental one. You know, your struggle, your everyday struggle, um, especially when it comes to strength and self esteem, and because these are not visible things, so they will feel like you're okay, but if you're not expressing those things, then you're just not gonna get it, and even expressing them, they might still not getting it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's really difficult and they judge you. Judgment is like a COVID-19 in the society. And they usually they don't know who to believe. And like you said, when you're telling your story, they cannot believe you allowed yourself to be treated like this. It's not about allowing, and we both know what I'm talking about right here. And what is your advice to these people who are using this harsh way of treatment to women who are sharing their story, who are trying to unload this luggage basically you're carrying on your back? What is your um, what do you think is the way for them to understand that these people have been through so much and that they shouldn't be judged, they shouldn't be treated, and basically this is continuing the abuse of this person. The only thing they want is to experience the freedom. The only thing they want is to be accepted. The only thing they want to is to share their stories and to find a way to again unload the luggage they have been carrying for so long. What is your advice to the people who are judging so much and being so harsh to victim of domestic violence and abuse?
I will mostly say, a little bit of support goes a long way, because we all we all go through stuff. We all we all dealing with situation. We have different kind of hurt, and all of us are a work in progress. So we just gotta be trying to be a little bit, sorry, more understanding, and be there for the people, because like I mentioned earlier, we all have different kind of we're going through different situation, and and it is hard, for every one of us, and we all at different stages of whatever's happening with us. We all at different stages, so it's just we have to try to be as understanding as possible, like I mentioned earlier. Because what I always say, if it was you, put yourself in that other person's shoes. You will want to be understood, right? You will want somebody to be there. You want somebody to take the time and trying to understand what is happening with you. So basically that's the advice that I will say, and also be patient, because us that's been in a situation like this, we all at different stages, right? And some people might not even be ready to share what happened to them, and you just got to be patient with the person, and trying to be like very understanding. And some of us, we get out and then we go back to the situation. It's not because we enjoyed it, it's just because it's hard. It's very hard, and it takes time. So it's important to just be there, and be understanding, be patient, And if the person only need some just you to listen, they might just need somebody to vent. Just be that ears if it's the only thing that you can do for now. And of course try not to be judgmental. It's a
Yes.
really important one.
Exactly, exactly. And this is my last question. So many women, um, when they leave abusive and domestic violent relationship, they get into again into the same turmoil, and they got attacked, they got robbed, they got, it's like taking advantage over somebody. Um, what kind of a laws we need to protect the women who are brave enough, who are trying to build life for themselves, from being abused additionally after that, and from being basically taken advantage of.
um yeah, this one is it's a hard one. um I always say, you have to really be careful on your road to recovery, because you will meet different kind of people. And of course everybody gonna say, I'm here for you, I'm there, I need to help, I'm there to help, you can trust me. But what I realize is, most abusers, they sense when people are in distress, right? And they sense when you're weak, and it's like they know who to prey on. So you have to be very careful and understand that you are at a very sensitive stage, where it's not like I'm saying not to trust people, but you have to kind of be wise about it, and not rush into any situation. And make sure that whoever you're gonna allow in your life, it's really somebody that you can trust. And it's okay to research, before you open your life to somebody. It's Don't let nobody make you feel bad about this. um and take your time, do not rush into another situation. And we had an event last month where one of the speakers mentioned something that kind of really stick to me. He was basically saying that we often describe ourselves like, in terms of relationship, we always say that we have a type, not realizing that what we might be attracted to, because it's what we know, it's not good for us, right? Because there's a reason why, if there's a pattern, like, you attracted to a certain type of people. Let's say you like this outgoing type and talking loud type, and you made yourself believe that this is my type, so you can only be with this specific kind of person, not understanding the full picture that this person is actually hurting you, right? So like I mentioned earlier, it's easier to stick with what you know. So now you really need to focus on yourself and take a step back and realize that maybe of course you need something different in your life, and work towards it. And this type of people that you've been attracted to, take a step back and question the situation, right? So maybe it's time to, like, try something different. And which is of course gonna be very hard. Like, I keep mentioning it because I find out this is very hard. It's so easier to stick with what you know, because you figure it out. You learn how to survive with it. And there's so much more in life than surviving. You need to
Exactly.
actually living. So that's when it comes like into putting the work and slow down and I'm saying it out loud, and I'm also giving advice to myself because I live at such a fast pace. But sometimes you do need to realize that you need to take a step backwards, slow down, and and what you might want might not be good for you, and it's okay because the important thing here is to break the cycle. You don't want to keep going from abusive relationship to abusive relationship. Like there's that one time I was working out with a lady, and basically what she was saying, because now that she was way more older, she basically she was saying that um she just gave up because she got tired of going through situation, and it's only been like abusive situation one way or another, and that really make me sad because now and you that's not the kind of life you want to have. So um it's always better to take your time, stay alone for a while if you need to, and work on yourself and making sure you don't find in the same situation, because that's a cycle. Like in that moment, like I was talking positive, but her, she was like, I don't even know what to say because that's not my story. My story basically is that I gave up, and that's how I felt I could protect myself because I wasn't trusting myself anymore. I wasn't trusting my choices. So she just decided that's it for her, and then I don't think anybody wanna look back into their life and having this has their stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any last words before we finish this amazing conversation with so much information? And I hope this is going to make a difference in somebody's life and give them the confidence they need and support they need. That's what we are doing. We are doing, and I hope this is going to give them, the power, the personal power they have lost inside themselves, and bring it back in their life, which we need so much, especially right now.
Um, well, I probably will say what I say every single time, which became um which became Beyond the Abuse slogan, is to speak up, speak out, and you're not alone. So that will be my last encourage word, like I said, because it's important to know that there's people out there who's been there and they really want to be there for other people. So whatever the case might be, whatever situation you might currently be facing, you have to constantly remind yourself not to stay isolate, that help is available and you're definitely not alone.
Can you share the website again where they can get in touch with you and if they have
Yeah.
any questions or anything?
Okay, so our website is www.beyondtheabuse.org, and we also on Facebook and Instagram at Beyond the Abuse. And our current phone number is 516-256-9531. And I'll repeat it again just because it's a habit. 516-256-9531. And of course they can personally reach out to me, email me via Facebook and Instagram as well. At my pages at Joanne M. Charisma.
Thank you so much, Joanne. You've been so amazing for sharing everything, what you've been through, and your book is available on Amazon as
Yes,
well.
it's
The
yes,
only
it's on
thing they need.
Amazon and our website as well.
Good, 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 good. So thank you so much for everybody who was with us, and I hope you're gonna share this. And I hope this is going to help you deal with any situation you're facing at the moment. And my advice is believe in yourself, have faith in yourself. Don't be very harsh with yourself. Give yourself time. And I know it's very difficult road because I have been traveling alone as well. But you need to understand that you have the power to change anything, and you have the power to build life for yourself. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Joanne. And I wish you an amazing weekend. Happy March 8th to all women. And I'm doing this amazing event where everybody can show their talents on March 8th in my group, National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, from 1 p.m. So I would love to see more people talking about anything they want to talk, share their businesses, but how women, we support each other and showing their talents. You can sing, you can dance, whatever you want to do. Let's have some fun this March 8th to 2021. All my love to all of you. And if you have any questions, we can write it down below this video. And you can always contact me on my website, dianabellaros.com. Thank you so much, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you for having me as well.